Good evening, everybody. I am going live tonight. I missed yesterday, so I am, I've had a really packed day today, but I'm determined to go live tonight. And unlike some other nights, I normally would get on and just go ahead and say what I'm going to say and wait. A few people might come into the room, but tonight I'm going to wait because I want people in the room tonight. What I have to say tonight is really important, and I want to wait. I want some people in the room tonight. So I do want to make sure, because I know I usually say, watch the replay, say something in the comments and stuff like that. And I know that I monitor what I'm doing, and I know that a lot of people don't actually they don't actually watch the full video. They comment on how cute I look, or how you doing, that kind of thing, but they don't engage with me on what I'm talking about. And tonight what I'm talking about is very important. It's something that I feel needs to be said, and I need to share. It's not small talk, it's real talk. And I want to make sure that everyone who can get in the room tonight gets in the room, and that they do so and listen to what I have to say and engage with me on this message. And I'm going to see. Yeah. And see if I can reach a few people. Because I really want people to get in here. I wish there was a way I could let's see, some of my business partners. Because this is just, to me, so important. So, yeah. So, one of the things I want to talk about is, I went to a birthday party today. One of my friends, hey Alma, thanks for coming. I went to a birthday party today, and the person whose party it was, very dear friend of mine. I've known them for over 20 something years, and they treat me like family, and to them I am family, and to me they're family. So even though I had a lot to do, I was tired, I wasn't feeling really up to going, I still wanted to go and honor them and support them. They were turning 70 years old, and that's a huge milestone, and tomorrow's not promised to anyone, so I wanted to go and support them. But before I left, as I was getting dressed, another friend of mine, you guys might know her, Paulette on the mic, Paulette Clark. Paulette and I went to high school together, and we've stayed in contact. Even though she's not in Milwaukee anymore, we stay in contact through social media, and we chit and chat and all that stuff. But she's someone who has her ear to the ground constantly, and she knows what's going on a lot of times, because she reports news and she shares news. And so like a lot of times I'm working from home, but I don't always have the television on. And I'm not always on social media. So when stuff happens, I'm not always hearing about it right away. I usually don't hear about things until like later in the evening. But one of the things that she had posted a video about was Target rolling back their DEI program. And I, I, because I was getting ready to leave, I couldn't listen to the entire video. And I said, well, I'll catch up on news later. And so I thought that can't be true, because I thought they were going to fight, and hold their ground. And it turns out that I was wrong, that they did apparently make the decision to pull back on their DEI program. Can you pass me some water? I came home. Well, actually, while I was at the birthday party, I got an alert on my phone, and it was a video from Tab Brown. I shared that same video on my page. I just hit share when I saw it come up. I just hit share, and so if you get a chance to go, thank you. If you get a chance to go through and see what she was saying. I apologize. My mouth gets dry sometimes when I'm talking, but she talked about being in business for yourself, and some of the things that is getting ready to happen now with this new era that we're entering into. And it made me think about a lesson that I learned some years ago before I even started teaching. I'm going to tell you two stories. And one of the stories is my story, and the other story is a very similar story. But it's the story of one of my mentors. So my story started when I was working for an agency that had a contract with the state to perform services for the W-2 program. I was a case manager, and I went above and beyond for my clients. And one day I had this client who was scheduled for an appointment, and we were always, back to back to back to back to back. We had to, schedule our appointments for 30-minute blocks. And so I had a full schedule that day. And if my client was even 10 or 15 minutes late for their appointment, it would make me late for my next appointment. So I had a client who had checked in at the front desk. I went out to get her. She was not there. When I called her name, she was not there. Now, she wasn't a new client. She was a client that I had been working really hard with. I knew her. I looked around. She wasn't in the waiting room. So I went over to the other side to see maybe she went to the restroom. She wasn't in the restroom. I went to the area where MATC had their classroom. I thought, well, maybe she went in there to use their computer to do a job search. She wasn't in there. I knew she smoked. So I went outside to see if maybe she had stepped outside to have a cigarette. She wasn't out there. She was nowhere on the premises. Nowhere. So I went back to my desk, and I checked at the front desk, and I said, did you see Miss So-and-so? And they said, she checked in, but she's not, out here anymore. They knew her too. So I go back to my desk, and I call the front desk again. I said, guys, did she come back? No, she hadn't come back. So by this time, we are, like 15 minutes into her appointment time. And I've already said, My appointments had to be set 30 minutes for each appointment. She's already missed half of hers. Maybe 20 minutes into her appointment time, where we would have only had 10 minutes left, she comes back in. Front desk calls me and said, Miss So-and-so is out here. I go out there to get Miss So-and-so. And I'm not upset that she's late. She missed her appointment. I'm telling her, I can't see you now because you're so late. I'm going to reschedule you. Well, she got upset. She started, and we were walking side by side. And we were walking side by side. And all of a sudden, she starts cussing me out. And she's no longer next to me. She's behind me. Now, I don't know about you, but I know when somebody is upset with you, you don't let them get behind you. She's behind me. I knew what she was thinking then. So I turned around to face her to make sure that she didn't have an advantage over me. And I started telling her, I cannot see you now because you have missed your appointment, but I'm going to reschedule. So she continued to cuss me out. And, the security guard is standing there not doing anything. He's not trying to intervene. He's not trying to calm her down or help me de-escalate her. So then my voice escalates, and I'm not a loud person. My coworkers know I'm not a loud person. So when they hear me responding to this lady cussing me out and talking about what she's going to do to me, they come out to help. So long story short, I tell my supervisor that I don't feel comfortable servicing her anymore, because we were in these little closed, small cubicles with our client. No metal detector. Security guard had already showed me he wasn't going to help if something popped off. And so my supervisor gave me permission to switch her with another case manager and take one of their cases, and they take her. After my supervisor gave me permission to do that, he changed his mind and told me I had to see her. I had to service her. And I told him I didn't have to do anything but stay black and die. Well, that cost me my job. But what it also showed me was that I was working for some place that did not care about my safety. They did not care about me, but they controlled my income. The lesson I learned is never, never, ever rely on just one income again. Because when that income stopped, that stopped my entire livelihood. Story number 2. Someone that I know who is a phenomenal principal, very successful, had the documentation to prove how successful they were. They were able to move a school from low performing to performing above expectation, making good money, making excellent money, going above and beyond. And I know this person, and I know their character, so I know their work ethic. I know they were doing everything they could and then some. They weren't the type of person who expected everything from their staff that they weren't willing to do. Well, one day, they upset their boss, and they were let go from their position. All because they demanded respect. Why on earth do people think they should be able to disrespect you, expect you to perform a job that's not supposed to be dangerous, but they expect you to perform that job in the face of danger when they could mitigate that? What I learned from my story and from the story of that other person is never to rely on just one source of income. And so I've been on here promoting my business. I've been on here talking to people about what my business entails. I've been telling people, use your plan A to help fund your plan B and C and D and E and F and G. I've been doing all of that. I've been talking to people by phone. I've been talking to people by text. I've been talking to people by messaging them. And people have been ignoring the signs that's going on. If you are someone who just has one source of income, you're already behind the 8 ball. You're already at a deficit. And what this news today showed me is that some people are scared, and they are letting the powers that be change their mind on what they were going to stand for. And so I look at that and I said, man, as optimistic as I am about who's really in control, because God is always in control, but God gives us the ability to make decisions. He gives us the ability to work. He gives us the ability to think and plan and prepare. And if you're not thinking, planning, and preparing, you're putting yourself at risk. You cannot depend on just one source of income. And for us in our community, that's never been an option. Big mama, grandmama, auntie, cousin, everybody has had to have what we call a side hustle. Whether it was cleaning houses for people after we left, another job, whether it was babysitting, whether it was, going to school at night after you've worked all day, or working all day and coming from one job going to another. We've never been the people who could just solely exist on one income. We've always needed our own. And so when I see people who turn their nose up to what I'm offering them as a business opportunity, to me it's a no-brainer. If it's something that I use and I can own it and I can earn income off of it, then I'm going to own it. If you owned a car shop and you had your own mechanics on staff, would you go across town to use somebody else's mechanic shop and pay them to use it? That's insane. That is insane. So what I'm saying this tonight, and I'm disappointed because I see the way things are happening already, and we're not even out of the first month of the year. This plan that they've been talking about, I'm not even going to say it by name because I don't want it to get flagged in my video. But this plan that they've been talking about, they had already started putting things in place before they got in place. And if that did not show you that you better have more than one way to make an income, because these companies are closing down. These companies are laying people off. Businesses that were struggling before, because they're looking at this person who made all these promises about what they were going to do. They were very clear and very upfront about what they were going to do. They had people in place before they got in place, and they've already started to do it. And so if you are not being smart about how you plan and prepare, if you don't have a plan B and C and D to help supplement your plan A, in case your plan A is one of those plans that gets taken away, like I said, you're already at a loss. Even if you don't partner with me and come into business with me, I want to encourage you to start thinking of some ways to make some extra income. I want to encourage you to support the people who you know who are in business, and stop taking your business dollars to other people that don't know you, don't care about you. If push come to shove, you can't pick up the phone and call them. I have people in my own family who travel, who know I'm in the travel business. They don't book with me. They're not partnering with me. But when push comes to shove, if they need me, they know I'll be there. I have business partners who have very, very, very same experiences. I love my family. I love my friends. They know they can pick up the phone and call me and say they need me, and I'll be there. So why on earth would they not be supporting my business? I'm not desperate. I'm just saying. I'm having a very real conversation tonight. Very real. So if you have a friend who does hair, and you know that friend does hair, you have a relative that does hair, you have a friend who has a store online, or they have a shop, a boutique, and they have clothes that you can fit, why are you not supporting their business? You got a friend that got a corner store, a grocery store, a market, or something, and they sell things that you use. Why are you not supporting them in their business? But you're going across town supporting somebody else's business who, when the lights go off and it's the midnight hour and you might need them, you can't pick up the phone and call them, but you got to call the person who you have relationship with, who's going to be 10 toes down for you. Why are you not supporting them? I don't understand it. This is a time where we all need to be sticking together and supporting each other's business, because it's very obvious. For those of you who know history and pay attention, it's very obvious that everybody's not going to support our business. Very obvious. I have people who I've done business with who I know that they could use my product. And I see them using the product, but they're not buying it from me. Well, I'm going to tell you now, I'm in the age of reciprocity, and I believe in reciprocity. I want you to hear me clearly. Do not be that person. Do not be those people. Do not be those individuals that do not support the business of your friends, family, and loved ones. And stop asking for discounts, because they're in business to earn a profit. If they're not earning a profit, it's going to be hard or impossible for them to stay in business. I have 3 businesses. I have my travel business, I have my marketing business, and I have a skincare business. And I know people wash their face. I know they do. But I have very few people in my immediate circle that support my skincare business. I have people who take trips. If you decide you don't want to own a travel agency, that's okay. But if you're taking trips, why are you not booking them from Tracy Watford at IntelliTravel.com? Somebody's going to get a commission, no matter who you book with. If you're booking from one of those other sites, if you're booking directly from the vendor, somebody's getting a commission. You're not getting the commission. And if you're not booking with me, I'm not getting the commission. But my dollars, because I am that person that when someone asks me to support, I am that person. Even if I can't use your product, I try to refer people to you. I'm that person because I believe in supporting people. I believe in helping everybody win. Unfortunately, everyone does not have that mindset. Everyone doesn't have that mindset. But if we're going to survive these next 4 years, you better develop that mindset and start supporting people that support you. Start supporting people that's in your circle. That start supporting people that have a relationship with you. You better start. When I saw that video with Tabitha Brown, and I thought about how we boycott, and we say we're going to boycott this and we're going to boycott that, she made a very valid point. For those people who DEI being removed is going to affect, when we boycott those businesses, we give them just what they want to be able to say that your product is not selling, it's not popular, it's not producing the results we need to produce, so we're going to have to remove it from the shelf. You see what I'm saying? Any excuse. But numbers don't lie. The dollars and cents don't lie. The dollars and cents don't lie. Stop being those people that support everybody but your own people. Stop being those people. Stop doing that. I know my history. I know my history in my community. I know my history in my family. I come from a family where entrepreneurship has been a thing. I have a great uncle that was in Tennessee who, because he worked with the NAACP, and just wanted something as basic as the right to vote. His friend was murdered. He was run out of town and had to leave his businesses behind. His businesses were very successful. I know this because I grew up in a family that shared our family history. So when I'm in business and then I have family members who don't support me, it leaves me speechless. When I talk with my business partners, and they tell me they're experiencing the same thing, it leaves me speechless. I have a cousin who, he's deceased now, but he owned a neighborhood corner store. It never occurred to me to not go spend my penny candy money, because back then that's what it was penny candy. It never occurred to me to not go shop at my cousin's store. That never occurred to me. And I didn't go down there asking for a discount. Back then, when I was growing up, $1 could get you something. And so if I had $1 to spend, I was going to spend that whole dollar at my cousin's store. I took pride that my cousin owned that store. I wanted my cousin to have that store. When I would go to school, in elementary school, my cousin's store was a place of safety. Because if the kids decided they wanted to fight after school and it was more than I could handle, I get my licks in and I ran to my cousin's store because I knew I was safe once I got on the inside of that door. I took pride in him having a business in our neighborhood. I was very proud of that. And so when kids were going to the store, I said, my cousin got the store on the corner, that white store on the corner. That was something for me. So when I see people not supporting their own, that's shocking. That's shocking. I never would have thought. So when I talk about the boycott, I have to be honest, I'm going to be reconsidering. Because the last thing I want to do is see another Black-owned business, woman-owned business, minority-owned business be put out of business because someone will be able to say that they don't have the numbers to keep them on the shelf. So I want you to give serious thought. And for those of you coming in the room, thank you for coming. I want you to give serious thought. Why are you not supporting your family members in business? Why are you not supporting your friends in business? Why are you not trying to start a business of your own if you're not? You better not depend on that one income. And you better not depend on them trying to help us, because they have shown us already in these first 25 days that they are not going to help us. They are actually out to get us. So the places that people in my community have been talking about boycotting, these big businesses, who are now, because they're scared. Some of them believed in having diversity, equity, and inclusion. But because of the threat of losing some of the benefits that they had under other leadership, now they're folding because they're trying to survive too. But I want to encourage you, if you came into this live late and you did not hear the beginning of the conversation, I want to encourage you to share this live as many times as you can. I want to encourage you to go back and listen to the beginning of it, because I told two stories. One, my story and what happened to me, depending on one income, and how I learned the lesson of not to depend on one income. I want you to hear the second story. Now, I can't make anybody do anything. I can't convince you to be confident enough to step out on faith and start a business. But what I can tell you is that I see history in a different light now. I see people trying to take us back. I thought by the time, and I grew up listening to stories and reading stories because I love history, and I read and I study. I never thought that by the time I got this age, that we would still be having these same sorry, tired, exhausting conversations about hatred and racism. I never thought that we would still be fighting the same struggles that our ancestors fought. And if you know anything, you know that we need to band together and support each other. Think about ways you can do it. Think about how you can do it. I don't eat out a lot, but guess what? When I eat out, instead of me going to some business that doesn't look like me, I'm going to find a way to support a business that looks like me. Because everybody's not going to support that business that looks like me. Sometimes the only support the businesses that look like me get are from people that look like me. And I want you to think about that. The next time you get on your phone, your laptop, or your tablet to book a trip on somebody's website, because to you it's anonymous, to you it's quick, to you it's easy, somebody is getting a commission from that trip even if you're not, and I'm not. The next time you get ready to go to the store to buy something that you could find at a little small shop where the owners look like me, consider, even if you got to go out your way to go support their business, do it. Because a lot of times it's easy for us not to do a thing because it doesn't affect us. And we don't put ourselves in the shoes of those other people. And I want you to think about, what if your family depended on the income coming from your business? But people chose to go elsewhere just because they could. Start thinking about some of these decisions if you were on the other side of these decisions. Start thinking about it. I'm not a hateful person. And one of the reasons that racism bothers me so is because I'm not a hateful person. So I have a love for people. And when I see people mistreating other people, it bothers me. When I see people doing things intentionally to hurt people, it bothers me. That's one of the things I used to get in trouble with at work when I was a teacher. When the kids would break into a fight, my first instinct was to try to break it up because I hated to see them hurting each other. That was a dangerous thing for me to do because then I could get hurt. And I was told that multiple times to stop doing that. Which is why I worked so hard to de-escalate things and address the situation before it went to that. But it's hard for me to understand. I'm a loyal person. So when I encounter disloyalty, that's hard for me to understand. Because if I say I got love for you, if I say I got respect for you, I couldn't imagine being disloyal. Now I'm a direct person, I'm an honest person. If you're wrong, I'm not going to uphold you in your wrong. I'll tell you that you're wrong. But I'm not that person that's going to try and judge you. I'm not that person that's going to try to put you down. I'm just going to tell you that's not right. And try to help you understand why it's not right and how to get to the side of right. I'm that person. But I'm most definitely not a person that's going to be disloyal. I'm most definitely not a person that's not going to be supportive. I'm not. But we are in a different era now, and we have to be strategic in how we do things. We have to be smart. And I also believe in you reap what you sow. So if you're sowing seeds of goodwill, if you're sowing seeds of support, they can't help but come back to you. If you're sowing seeds of encouragement, they can't help but come back to you. And they may not come back to you through the people you sold them through, but they'll come back to you. I'm a firm believer, and I believe what God's word says. As a man or woman soweth, so shall they reap. I just want to encourage you. I've been inviting family and friends to hear more about my business. If they don't want to come into business with me, at least know about the products that I offer so that you can support me that way. And it's not just me. I'll say it again, it's not just me. I have other business partners who said they've experienced the same thing. But then I also have some business partners who are experiencing just the opposite. I put a post out earlier, earlier this morning, that said that family really can work together. A lot of these big corporations started out as small family businesses, and they built big, huge, conglomerate, monopolizing businesses because the families worked together. As a matter of fact, they're still in existence now, and they were one of the first companies to announce that they were going to get rid of their DEI program. But they started out as a small family business. When you work with people that you're attached to, you increase the odds of all of y'all winning together. Because when you don't have and they have, or when they don't have and you have, that's what it's supposed to be. There is no way that I would have, and then somebody that I love that's attached to me doesn't have, and they're sitting there struggling, and I'm not helping. That's not how I operate. My grandmother and my mother raised me well. Hearts of gold. There is no way that I would be doing well and not be helping my family, friends, and loved ones who are struggling. So when I'm doing well, when you support me and help me get to a point where I'm doing well, you know that you've got that same support. When you have a friend that's in business, they may have their little boutique, they may have their shop over here, they may have a corner store over there, and you choose to go shop in somebody else's store when you could have shopped at their store. But they're the ones right there with you. They're the ones that you can call at that midnight hour and say, hey. They're the ones that when your check is short and you might need store credit, but if you put them out of business by not supporting their business when you could support their business, whether you need store credit or not, you're not going to be able to get it. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. So I was considering and actually had started with my form of boycotting. But hearing what Tab said, I understand. I don't have to boycott the whole environment. I don't have to do that. When I don't have my hair in braids, I wear my hair natural. I can go buy just the specific products of the specific business that I want to support and see stay on the shelf so that their business can stay open and in operation. I can do that. So I am going to be readjusting how I do business with people and with some of these companies. I'm going to be readjusting. And I hope that you do the same thing. But I'm going to say it again. If you have friends and family that are in business, support them any way you can. Help their doors stay open. Help their businesses stay open. Help their businesses turn profits. Help them. Because if you can help them stay in business, none of us know what tomorrow's going to bring. You don't know when you're going to need their help. But if they're not able to help you because they don't have, because their business is closed, I want you to think about that. And that's what Tab was saying. Numbers don't lie. Our dollars are powerful. We spend money. We spend money on everything. We don't always save our money, but we spend it on everything. Start thinking about how you can use your money strategically so it can help those of us that look like us survive these next few years, because we're going to need to stick together to survive. Start studying your history. If you don't already know the history, start studying our history. Black Wall Street. How when we build something up, it gets torn down or burned down. That in itself, that whole story tells you how powerful our resolve can be, how powerful our dollars are when we use them. So start thinking about how you're going to use your dollars. Who you're going to spend your dollars with. Stop giving faceless individuals or companies that have no relationship with you your money. Stop doing that. I can't tell you what to do, but I'm just encouraging you. And I'm encouraging you. If you have not seen Tabitha Brown's video, go back and watch it. One of the things she pointed out is that she's under contract. So she's safe at least for another year. But there are some businesses who, and Black History Month is getting ready to come up. I'm excited about Black History Month because I was asked to come speak to a class about my my college experience, because I'm a graduate, a proud graduate of a HBCU. And I'm going to get a chance to go share information about my HBCU with a group of middle school students. So I'm excited about that. Black History Month, for me though, was never just a month, because I am Black history. I believe in making history. I believe in knowing my history. My history inspires me. And so I'm encouraging you to learn your history so you can prepare yourself for what's coming. So you can have good understanding. So that you can prepare yourself. If you need to make some changes and some pivots, get ready to do that. I'm just encouraging you. I can't tell anybody what to do because I'm not anybody's boss. And I left the classroom so that I don't have to be anybody's boss. I only want to be my boss. But I'm encouraging you to, if you don't know your history, learn your history. And not that watered down version of history that has been in classroom for years. That didn't tell the full story and both sides of the story and other parts of the story. Get out there and do some research. One thing that we have at our fingertips now that we didn't have before is availability of information. But I can guarantee you that probably is going to start to change too. So while you have access, get out there and study and learn your history. Because if nothing else encourages you to make some changes in how you spend your money and who you spend your money with, knowing your history is going to help you understand why you need to be careful who you spending your money with and whose businesses you're supporting. Black Wall Street in Tulsa, that's just one story, but there are many. There are many. Look them up. There are many communities that were self-sufficient and thrived because our dollars are powerful. And that presented a threat because certain people want to control everything, and as much as they preach self-sufficiency, that ain't really what they want. But I'm telling you, while you can, when you can, be strategic with where and how you spend your money. So again, in light of the video that I saw and listened to what Tab said, my boycott efforts won't be directly for the entire corporation, but those businesses that look like me, that have products on the shelves of some of those places, I'm going to be strategic in how I support them because I want them to keep their doors open. I want them to still be able to function and survive, and hopefully survive beyond these next few years, because it's crucial. So that being said, I just wanted to get on here, and I'm going to ask you guys to share this live for those people who have popped in. If you just got in, I've been on here for a while, and I've talked about some things, and I told 2 stories. And one of the stories was my story back when I was in my 20s. And I ticked off my boss because I stood up for myself. And I was a little flippant when I stood up. I am not going to deny. But when in my 20s, my early 20s, and I saw that they had no care or concern for my well-being, they had no respect for me, they expected me to continue to perform a job in spite of being a safety risk for me, that perturbed me. And so I said what I said, and I stood on what I said. It cost me my job, and I had to fight. But thank God the law was on my side too, because when I had to fight, a judge ruled in my favor and said it was unreasonable for them to expect me to perform my job under duress. Now, that being said too, I left that part out. That being said too, we're in an era now where the law may not always be on our side because of who's in charge of the law. So it's even more critical that we support one another and that we help one another find multiple sources of income. So you don't just have one, you have multiple streams of income. Residual, passive. I'm not encouraging anybody to let go of their 9 to 5. As a matter of fact, I strongly encourage you to use funds from your regular 9 to 5 to get started in your plans B, C, D, E, F, and G, so that you have more than one source in case that plan A and that regular 9 to 5 gets removed from your resources. After I was let go from that job, and I wasn't let go, I was fired. I was fired because I stood up for myself. After that, I learned I'll work a job, I'll give them everything that's required of me, and in some cases then some, because as a teacher I gave more. But when I had business opportunities come my way, when I had opportunities to earn extra income, and I had to make a small investment, I used my resources from my plan A, which was my 9 to 5, to start other things to bring in extra income. And that's all I'm encouraging. Some financial literacy. Get out there and educate yourself on different ways that you can earn extra money. Educate yourself on how you can use that money. If you have questions, I don't know everything, but I know more than I knew in my 20s. I also am connected with people that know things and know how to do things and how to manage and how to make ends meet and how to stretch a dollar till it hollers and cries for mercy. Reach out. So I'm going to end this live for now. I've been tied up all day. I just got back in. I got to get ready for church tomorrow, and I've got some things that I got to prepare for our annual meeting. But I just want to thank you guys for the support that you have given me. I want to thank you for all the likes and the comments and the shares. I want to thank those of you who have been supporting my travel business. I want to thank you. For those people who have been considering partnering with me, I want to thank you, and I want to tell you, don't keep waiting. I want to thank you. I also want to thank you for sharing this live, and I'm going to ask you again to share it with everybody. If you want to watch it before you share it, so you can make sure that you're not in disagreement with anything I've said, do that. But I want to thank you. So from my heart to yours, I want to wish you a good night. Enjoy your rest of your evening. Have a good Sunday, and enjoy the rest of your weekend. Good night. Peace.